Now, what is rizq? This is a very important thing to understand. Sometimes people feel that rizq is money, rizq is job. Rizq is an all-encompassing word that takes into account everything that we need in order to exist in this world. So rizq is money, rizq is food, rizq is time, knowledge, health, energy, beauty, strength, spouses, children, movable, immovable property, power, influence, authority, every kind of resource that we can imagine in order to survive and in order to develop and in order to live in the world. So all of that is rizq. So rizq is not only, rizq is time. Rizq is free time. So rizq is not only money, rizq is all of these things, and that's why it's very important for us to keep that in mind when we are talking about rizq. We are not just talking about money. Now, rizq is one of the 5 questions that will be asked on the day of judgment, and we know this hadith, and I have mentioned this hadith to you when we were doing the series on death and hereafter, on the day of judgment, where Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the hadith is reported in Tirmidhi, he said, the son of Adam alayhi salam will not pass away from Allah, meaning he will not be able to move from the Maidan of Al-Hashr until he is asked about 5 things, until he answers 5 questions. 1, how did he live his life? What did he do with the time that was allotted to him? 2, in that time, how did he utilize his youth? How did he utilize his strength and his power as a youth? 3, with what means did he earn his wealth? Where did he get his money from? Number 4, how did he spend this wealth? Where did he earn it from? And where and how did he spend it? And the last one is, what did he do with his knowledge? Now if we look at these 5 questions, subhanAllah, we can see that all 5 of them have to do with only one thing, and that is rizq. All of this is rizq. Your time is rizq. Your youth and your health and your energy and your power and so on and so forth is rizq. Wealth is rizq. So where did you earn it from and where did you spend it is a question about rizq. Knowledge is rizq. And therefore we are talking about what did you do with the knowledge? Whatever knowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you, what did you do with the knowledge? Did you practice this knowledge? Did you use this knowledge in beneficial ways? Or did you not teach this knowledge, or did you use the knowledge in harmful ways? All of these questions have to do with rizq. And therefore it is very important for us to understand how important this whole question of rizq is. All the 5 questions with regard to the day of judgment have to do only with one thing, and that is rizq. And that's why it's very important for us to keep that in mind. Now, there are 6 important matters, and in this series of lectures between today, tomorrow, and perhaps next week, we'll deal with all of these 6. So this is just a list of what these 6 are. Number 1, that all rizq is preordained in terms of its quantity, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken its responsibility himself. So this is one of the questions that we will look at, and we will see the dalail. How is this correct? How is it correct? What is the proof of this? Number 2, that we have a choice only in terms of sources which we choose to obtain it from and where we choose to spend it. And so therefore that is the second question, and we will look at the dalail for that. Number 3, that shaitan will try to frighten us with poverty while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comforts us with his power, and that shaitan has no power over the believer and the believer who seeks protection from Allah. Number 4, that sustenance, which is rizq, both in its plenty as well as in its shortage, are tests. Poverty is a test, and wealth is also a test. Number 5, what should you do? What action should you take in case of difficulties with respect to rizq? If you are having any problem with respect to rizq, then what should you do? Inshallah, we'll look at that. And number 6, the reason why we still need to work and do the best we can while we live in the world. Because if one question obviously is that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the responsibility of rizq on himself, then why should I work? And we'll see why we should work or whether we should not work. Let's see what comes out of that, and we'll see inshallah the proofs of that. So the first one,